Hi, everyone. I got a live stream for you today. Well, hey, everybody. What a day. What a day I had yesterday. Leveling up. Sometimes you need some really good conversations with people in your life who are taking life seriously all the way. And when that happens and you make new decisions, new opportunity opens up. The world's interconnected. And so if within yourself you're suppressing stuff, versus if within yourself you are actually going all out, having the conversations you need to have, doing the things you know you need to do, the universe pays attention. So, yeah, it was really cool. Last night, Jess and I were out at a park, and you get to a certain point where you stand for something real and people around you pick up on it. And we will just meet the most random, cool people all around us. And we made new friends at the park. This little girl literally walks right up to Aristotle, our son, and they just start talking. Turns into a 45-minute conversation with the parents. And the parents are like self-proclaimed introverts. And we still end up having a full-on conversation because we stand for something real. Like, deep down at our core, we know we want every human being, kids, adults, everyone included, to actually thrive. And so the world picks up on that. So check this out. I know yesterday I was talking about, we're going to talk about the money system today, which we are. But I want to show you a little bit of a new YouTube video that I've got. This went up late last night. I uploaded it from a different platform, so yeah, it went up at like 11 p.m. But check it out. This one.
Like bacon.
Hey, you're gonna come on an evening tour with us of the food forest in the homestead. Shout out Aristotle, opening it up with saying I like bacon. But watch this seriously. I know a lot of you know I homestead, but you haven't actually seen what it looks like. We do a whole loop. I think we hit every single part of it in here. It's 25 minutes. It's off the cuff. It is unfiltered. Jessica makes an appearance. Both the kids make an appearance. The dog makes an appearance. The cat makes an appearance. And you get to see what's possible as a blueprint. How we have, I don't even know how many trees and fruit bushes we have growing, but well over 50. To have abundance galore everywhere. Abundance galore all over. So, yeah, check that one out. We got a random ass alarm going off in my house right now. I'm hearing. I think it's just catchy. Do-do-do-do-do-do. So, I titled today Money, Liberating Yourself from Energetic Debt, and then Create a Based System. So, there's a cool little clip I want to show you, but I'll show you in a minute. I want to show you a blog on this first. I'm going to read some of this to you. Welcome to the live stream, by the way. If you haven't watched my live streams, if you want the full download, listen to episode 37 that I did recently. That one gives you the full download of who I am, what I'm about. But Guys, I'm sorry. I did not have my microphone plugged in. What the hell? Now it's even better audio quality. You can hear me even better. So I live stream every day from 8 to 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, Monday through Friday, to start your day right. Got my trusty cup. Jess, if you're listening, if you could hook me up with some fresh coffee, that would be awesome. All right. Check it out. Energetic debt. If you ever go through the day and you feel tired, but you slept enough, you slept enough, you maybe even slept too much. If I ever sleep more than 7 hours, it's like too much sleep for me. I feel it in my brain where it's like, whoa, this is gonna take me a little bit to like get going. You sleep too much. So if you've ever had it where you feel tired throughout the day, even though you know you're sleeping enough, that is a sign you have energetic debt built up like your credit card, and you rack up those bills. That's what you're doing emotionally and mentally. Think about it. If you are pissed in your mind all day long, and you are back chatting, and you're doubting, and then you're excited, and then you're sad all day long, guess what happens? And even for you stoic men out there who don't feel emotion, you're just a stoic beast, but you suppress the anger you feel, or occasionally it boils up and then you get pissed off and you yell. This is energetic debt, guys. So check it out. I'm going to read some of this for you. Self-forgiveness is the way to let go of debt, right? Don't they call it your debt is forgiven? Check it out. So this is day 15. I wrote this in September of last year. We live in a world that is debt-based. Don't believe me? In a moment, we're going to watch a YouTube video that will literally show you how the whole system works. But I gotta paint the picture, guys. Our money is printed and loaned out, and immediately interest is owed on it. But this isn't just money. From a spiritual perspective, we are born into sin, right? On a personal level, we look for the energetic highs through experiences, having fun, relaxing, taking a trip, drinking, smoking, doing what we can to experience that peak and the release from the stress, only to feel drained again after, right? You work all week just for that Friday night, that first shot of tequila, that cold beer, that IPA. Right back in the day, I used to take a shot followed by a beer just to make sure you would get a certain level of buzz. And then the art form was to try and stay the perfect level of buzz all night till about 1 a.m. And then you go to sleep and pass out, wake up the next day, find a way to like ease into it, do Saturday night again. Then by Sunday, you're like, oh shit, this sucks. And then typically you're smoking weed on Sunday to numb the pain and then back to work on Monday. That was the old playbook that I I know there are millions of people around the world who run that. It's a fucked up existence, guys. You're not actually living, but you'll justify it because when you hit that perfect blend of weed and you got the buzz, you're like, wow, I feel so lucid. I feel so aware. It's like, bro, you should feel like that level of that buzz every day of your life. You should have that buzz of being alive. It's where you're fully dealing with your reality, navigating it, sorting it out like a conductor conducting an orchestra. But right now, you're like the guy in the closet watching a YouTube video of a conductor, thinking that's you, instead of you actually conducting your life. So, unless we address the root cause underneath, we are trapped in a cycle of debt and repayment physically and energetically. So, what is the way through? Forgiveness. I'm going to read some of these and then I'm going to explain it. So if you have not ever read Self-Forgiveness for Yourself, the purpose is to write it for yourself sincerely from the heart and speak it out loud. Self-forgiveness will strengthen you. It's like imagine all your little molecules in your body that are all fucked up right now and they've been corrupted because you haven't actually lived in full integrity with who you know you can be. That gets all distorted. So now when you do self-forgiveness, it's a strengthening, it's a reconstituting of your body. And there is so much power in it. It will blow your mind because you'll get insight as you do it. So I'm going to read these and I'm going to narrate this. I forgive myself that I have accepted and allowed myself to prioritize feeling good over anything else. I forgive myself that I had accepted and allowed myself to use the concept of YOLO as a justification for living in a careless way. I forgive myself that I have accepted and allowed myself to take actions and design my life around the weak and the weekend time systems, where during the week I work and on the weekend I want a break. Yet by the time Monday rolls around, I feel drained from the weekend, wanting it to be Friday again, not actually living each day. I forgive myself that I had accepted and allow myself to build up the pressure within me of stress of daily life, of doing tasks, of thinking, of planning. But within it, I forgive myself that I have not accepted and allow myself to realize that I have my breath and I have my principles, which can serve as a filter for the stress and keep me grounded here. Wow, can you relate to this? You have that pressure build up all week. You'll have little moments throughout the day where you feel bliss, but the rest of the time is like not a pleasant feeling, right? You might feel anxious, you might feel it in your belly, you might feel it in your solar plexus, you might feel like you have a knot in your stomach, you might feel back pain. That is stress accumulating, right? And that bill is going to be due. That notification is going to pop up. Bill is due, mofo. Right? This is how you get ahead of it, guys. Oops. Hey, Jess. Thanks. Okay, it just went out. What the hell? I must have bumped my. Here we go. I must have bumped it. Sorry, guys. Let me make sure I keep the chat open. So my point is, it's who are you in the experience when you're doing the experience? Are you just there to? It's Friday night. I got to go to a movie, and then during the movie, I got to chug a bunch of ices and eat gummy bears because this feels so good, and I can finally have this release. Does it got to be the perfect conditions for you to have the release, or can you realize in each moment? Take a deep breath. Who am I? What is my purpose? What am I here to do? And then you can enjoy the actual thing you want to do, which is live your damn life. Right? That's how you do it. All right. Okay. So now, again, this is all under the umbrella of energetic debt, which we're all racking up every day. We're worse than the freaking US government, racking up trillions and trillions and trillions. Think of the trillions of thoughts you have. Think of the trillions of feelings and all these characters you get possessed by within yourself. So you go like you'll be present for a moment and then all of a sudden you have a thought and then you jump and you jump and you jump and you're like a squirrel jumping around, just chasing the next thing. So let's read this next one. I forgive myself that I had not accepted and allowed myself to realize the transition to make is from a debt based system to a creative based system. This goes for me energetically, for our world together, how the money system works, and also how I prioritize my life and what I focus on. I am a creator. There's not an entire, or there is an entirely new level of what's possible by me remaining here and clear instead of looping on the desire to build up pressure and stress and then need a release. Guys, as within, so without. This is an alchemical principle from thousands of years ago. They say, as within, so without. I know you've heard that before, but as without, so within. So when you look at the world and you look at America and you see how in debt is America, $38 trillion or some crazy shit like that? It's like, hold on, that's a mirror for me. Where am I going into debt? And I don't just mean you open up a new credit card. I don't just mean you have a mortgage on your house. I mean, with who you are. You are going into debt every single day, trying to chase this positive feeling at the expense of your reality. Instead of realizing your actual life can be like this joyful, amazing, moment to moment presence. Like a kid, right? A kid, before they develop their mind, the kid is just here. They enjoy. It's an expression of them fountaining forth into their life. It's why we enjoy hanging out with kids, right? Unfortunately, parents don't know this stuff. So they create their kid basically becomes a mirror for them. And so the kid will they really emphasize the positive and they try and make it be the best, right? They go to Disney World, they buy the candy, they do the extreme, tickling sessions and wrestling matches and all that, but they're not present within it. So it just turns into this positive, negative, positive, negative, and then the kid has these temper tantrums. As opposed to you can be present within it. My son once a day will like to mess with me and like try and tickle my feet and everything, and he wants to wrestle. I will still do that with him. The thing is, who am I within it? Am I just trying to get that peak energetic experience from my kid, or can I actually just enjoy the moment the whole time through and be present and not need it to be more than that? I forgive myself that I've accepted and allowed myself to obsess over being debt free for myself only, not realizing that the actual solution is to solve the problem for everyone, not just myself. I realize that I have been conditioned from childhood to design my life, my thinking, my emotional well being, my priorities, all on the system of work all week and enjoy the weekend off. You see the thread through all of this? Again, it's energetic debt. We're living we're living for the weekend. We're living just for the stress release instead of missing all the moments of our life, right? So here's your chance on this live stream every day to be a stream of living for you. I realize that this is a multi year journey of correcting myself, moment by moment, to live a life where the presence in the moment is what truly matters. As the presence is me as life able to, in that moment, see what is best beyond my thinking or feeling. Presence. Don't they call it the present for a reason? I know that's so cliche, but it's like you want the present. The present is the present. At the end of your life, isn't that what you're actually going to want more of? It's more presence, presence of people around you, you having more presence in your very body. I realize that thoughts and feelings, if undirected, will become the chains by which I imprison myself and never actually change. I realize that the change happens by chaining together moments at a time of doing the best thing as a creator. And the more I do this, the stronger I become until over time, my entire life is a reflection of being a creator. And this is reflected back to me in the world, right? This is called the law of accumulation. And just like how people try and get the law of accumulation and the compound effect with investing in the stock market, meanwhile, they're literally funding this crazy system we live in, funding Palantir, funding Raytheon and these companies, Boeing, Lockheed Martin, literally funding the engine of war just so you can get your return. What I'm saying is you can fund your life through every moment of presence, building into the direction that's the best it can be. And then that gets stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger until your life is like this snowball that's out of control, going in the direction of best for all. Because when you are aiming towards what's best for all and everyone around you is doing it, not even everyone, let's just say 10% of the people around you agree with that. That then creates a cumulative effect that ripples into the world. I realize that debt and repayment is a cycle by which we can trap ourselves as humans. Therefore, I commit myself to show that the real value here is life and living. I commit myself to show that together we can re envision what's possible for the systems of our world. Yet, it starts internally with each one and each of us, and enough of us figuring this out together. I commit myself to show the common sense that each moment, whether the most happy or the most challenging, each moment is an opportunity for me to show myself who I am. And that is real happiness. Me showing myself that I am able to stand up through anything and direct the situation to be the best it could be. This is real living. I commit myself to align myself and the others who are committed to changing the system so we can break free from the debt cycle. This is fundamental to the principle of what is best for all. Is re-envisioning the system to what is possible, getting this implemented over the current and next generation. And I commit myself to show that the way through the debt trap is to realize I am a creator. I can produce value. I can share tools that are of value and be fairly compensated for it, and utilize my money and efforts to support life and the growth of this new creative based system. Over time, as we accumulate enough people, resources, and a coordinated network, we can implement the shift in culture, politics, and law so we can never again trap ourselves in the energetic money debt based system. Rather, we can learn from it and grow to a level we have never before seen possible. Guys, all right. You ever read Creature from Jekyll Island? I wonder why they call it Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, or Mr. Hyde and Dr. Jekyll, whatever that book is. What does Jekyll mean? Why is it in Jekyll Island and Jekyll and Hyde? So there's a book. You may not be aware of this. It's pretty popular though. It's called Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And it's this guy who has a personality disorder. The naming of James Oglethorpe founded the colony of Georgia and named the island in 1730s. He named it after Sir Joseph Jekyll, who helped fund the Georgia colony. He was a politician and financier. The book, okay, well, this is some bullshit AI from JekyllIsland.com. I wonder what if, I wonder, I wonder if it's connected. If the author had some sense of it. It may or may not be. Anyway, what is Creature from Jekyll Island? Summarize Creature from Jekyll Island. I have it on my shelf. I will show you. 1 second. It's thick. This ain't no joke. Let me just read the back cover for you. Where does money come from? Where does it go? Who makes it? The money magician's secrets are unveiled. Here's a close look at their mirror and smoke machines. The pulleys, cogs, and wheels that create the grand illusion called money. Boring subject, just wait. You'll be hooked in 5 minutes. It reads like a detective story, which it really is. But it's all true. This book is about the most blatant scam of history. It's all here. The cause of wars, boom bust cycles, inflation, depression, prosperity. Your worldview will definitely change. This may be the most important book on world affairs you will ever read. Yeah, this was all my first mentors who understood money all said that's the one you got to read first. And then you should read Law of Success in 16 Lessons by Napoleon Hill. Don't read Think and Grow Rich because it's watered down. Yeah. So, warning now. Guess what's going to happen? You hear this. You have a moment of energetic debt where you go, or you want the high though, right? You want the credit, you want the positive. So you go, oh, sweet. I'm going to get that book because it's going to help me be smarter. And then it's going to arrive in the mail and it's going to sit on your bookshelf. And then you're going to experience energetic debt because now you no longer have the energy to be like, oh, I just wish I could read that and comprehend that. The words are so small. As opposed to saying, I am a creator. I'm going to make time every day to read what's important to understand the world so I can develop certainty in who I'm becoming, where the world's headed, so I can help lead people into a new world. This one goes deep, man. But I'll give you the quick summary. Right, it argues that the Fed is a privately controlled banking cartel designed to manipulate the economy, enrich financial elites, and fund endless wars through the deceptive creation of fiat currency. Like, if you don't know what fiat currency is, it just shows like you got some reading to do, guys. You got some learning to do. Tune into my live stream every day. Like, I'm at episode 41. There is valuable things in every single episode. Do you think I'm just sitting here wasting my fucking time when I could be out building my business, talking to my wife, talking to my kids, doing other things? Like, I am live streaming for a reason. I'm working at making it more enticing to learn, because I know most of you went through school. So you were indoctrinated to actually hate learning by the same people that are behind these institutions. They engineered it this way specifically. If you run a monopoly and you are at the top, do you ever want competition? Or do you want to guarantee that your kids, your grandkids, your great grandkids don't even have competition? So you intentionally dumb down the masses. Tomorrow, what we're going to do is we're going to go through some highlights from the John Taylor Gatto history of the education system. But for today, I am going to show a clip from this video so you can really understand the extent of the system we're in. Warning, you might go, oh my God, this is so boring. It's that way on purpose, so you never question it. But then you're now going to work your entire life worried about bills and money. You're going to go work 8 hours a day at something you don't like because of this very system. So buckle your seatbelt. We're going to watch about 5 to 10 minutes of it. I really just want to show this section. So you got to see fractional reserve. Okay. We'll go up to inflation. So bear with me. I might pause a little bit, but you got to understand this. This will give you so much clarity in how the system actually works. And so we'll do something with it at the end. Okay. So stick around till the end and I'll show you what we can do about it.
They say that money doesn't grow on trees, but the truth is that the modern banking system creates currency far faster than trees can grow. Most people don't have a clue how currency is created. Economists and bankers make it sound so complex that people think they can't understand it. But I'm going to strip our monetary system down to its essence so that you can see the scam behind the curtain and just how it affects you. Every modern society creates currency in pretty much the same way. But since the US dollar is the majority of the world's currency, I'm going to use the United States as our example. It all starts when some politician says, vote for me and I'll make sure the government provides you more free stuff than my opponent will. But there's no such thing as a free lunch. So to provide that supposedly free stuff, the politicians vote for the country to spend more than its income. This is called deficit spending. To pay for that deficit spending, the Treasury borrows currency by issuing a bond.
All right, already. Watch how your brain just shut down. Okay, government. Okay, yep. Politicians. Got it. Okay, now issuing bonds to the Treasury. Shut down. Now, this is why education is the most important first step to changing the world. Did you know you could build your vocabulary? If you had the tools I use, in 15 minutes, you could build all this vocabulary so this entire video clicks and you can understand it.
So what's a bond? If you think about it, a bond is really nothing but a glorified IOU. It's a pretty piece of paper with numbers printed on it that says, loan me $1 trillion today and I promise over a 10-year period I'm going to pay you back that $1 trillion plus interest. But what you need to understand is that Treasury bonds are our national debt. These glorified IOUs are to be paid back by you and I and our descendants through future taxation. Therefore, when the government issues a bond, it steals prosperity out of the future so that it can spend it today.
And I'm going to pause this because I really want to narrate this for you. Isn't this the same thing you do every time you go participate in your favorite vice? Vice meaning it could be alcohol, could be weed, could be porn, could just be binging more Netflix than you should. It could be participating in a fantasy in your mind. You are stealing future prosperity from you. Every time you don't take responsibility in the moment, you don't brush your teeth at night, you don't actually have that conversation with your kid you got to have. You don't take responsibility for what's in your life fully. You are stealing future prosperity, as opposed to when you actually just become a creator for real and you actually walk this process every day. You are now giving yourself future prosperity. You are ensuring your future prosperity.
The Treasury then holds a bond auction, and the world's largest banks show up and compete to buy part of our national debt and make a profit on it by earning interest. You'll notice that as we move through this process, the big banks are there, taking a cut every step of the way. This isn't by chance, as you'll see shortly. Then, through a shell game called open market operations, the banks get to sell some of those bonds to the Federal Reserve at a profit. To pay for the bonds, the Federal Reserve opens up its big old checkbook and writes bad, bogus, counterfeit checks that should bounce because they're drawn on an account that always has a zero balance. There isn't one penny in there. To quote from the Boston Federal Reserve, "When you or I write a check, there must be sufficient funds in our account to cover that check. But when the Federal Reserve writes a check, there is no bank deposit on which that check is drawn. When the Federal Reserve writes a check, it is creating money." The Fed then hands those checks to the banks, and at this point, currency springs into existence. The banks then take that currency and buy more bonds at the next Treasury auction. But what is a check? A check is also an IOU. When you write a check, you're making a note that says, "Here's my IOU for cash. All you have to do is go to the bank and pick it up." Now, it's very, very important that you understand this process because we're going to come back later and show you the devastating effect this has on you. The Treasury issues IOUs, bonds. The banks then buy those IOUs with currency. The Federal Reserve then writes IOUs, checks, and hands them to the banks in exchange for the Treasury's IOUs, the bonds. And currency is created. So what's really happening is the Federal Reserve and the Treasury are just swapping IOUs, using the banks as middlemen, and abracadabra, presto, currency magically springs into existence. This process repeats and repeats over and over again, enriching the banks and indebting the public by raising the national debt. The end result is that there's a buildup of bonds at the Federal Reserve and currency at the Treasury. This process is also where all paper currency comes from. The Federal Reserve and the government mistakenly call it base money because they didn't watch episode 1 of this series and they don't know the difference between money and currency. But I will correctly refer to it as base currency because it is not money. It is currency, and as we've learned, there is a big difference. Money has to be a store of value and maintain its purchasing power over long periods of time. We learned in episode 1 that earlier in our history, our paper currency was just a claim check. It was a representation for real money of intrinsic value, the gold and silver that was held on deposit at the Treasury. You could walk into any bank and slap your currency, like say a $20 bill, on the counter and redeem it for real money, a $20 gold piece. But now, this base currency that's piling up back here is really nothing but a receipt or a claim check on an IOU, that bond. So it's really nothing but a supply of numbers. The Treasury then deposits the newly created currency into the various branches of the government, and the politicians say, "Hey, thanks for that." And the government does some deficit spending on public works, social programs, and war. The government employees, contractors, and soldiers then deposit their pay in the banks. Now, this may come as a shock to you, but when you deposit your currency with the bank, you're not actually depositing it into an account to be safely held in trust for you. Instead, you're actually loaning the bank your currency, and within certain legal limits, they can do with it pretty much anything they please. This includes gambling in the stock market and loaning it out, at a profit, of course. Now this is where the machine of currency creation really gets cranking, because this is where something called fractional reserve lending comes into play. Fractional reserve lending is exactly what it says. The banks are allowed to reserve only a fraction of your deposit and loan the rest out. Although reserve ratios may vary, I'm going to use a 10% reserve ratio as our example.
So here's the one other part. You got this will blow your mind.
If you deposit $100 in your account, the bank can legally take $90 of it and loan it out without telling you. The bank must hold $10 of your deposit in reserve just in case you want some of it. These reserves are called vault cash. But why does your bank account still say you have $100 if the bank has stolen $90 of it? Because the bank left IOUs it created, called bank credit, in its place. Now I know this sounds crazy, but here it is in black and white from the Fed. Commercial banks create checkbook money when they grant a loan simply by adding new deposit dollars in accounts on their books in exchange for a borrower's IOU. These are nothing but numbers that the banks type into their computers. And even though these bank credit IOU numbers are very different from base currency numbers, because they only exist in computers, they are still currency. So now there is $190 in existence. Now the reason people take out loans from the banks is to buy something. They're going to buy a house or a car or something like that. So the borrower takes the $90 that the bank loaned to him from your account and he pays the seller of the item. But then the seller deposits that currency into his account and his bank loans out 90% of that and leaves bank credit numbers in its place. So now there's $271 in existence. This process repeats and repeats until under a 10% reserve ratio, an initial deposit of just $100 can create up to $1,000 of bank credit, all backed by $100 of vault cash, just 10%. But as I said, reserve ratios vary wildly. On some deposits, it's 10%, on others, it's 3%, and on some forms of deposits, reserve requirements are 0. The result is that the expansion of the currency supply by the banks is far greater than even this example would lead you to believe. So once again, when currency is deposited in the banks get to lend it out, and then it gets redeposited and relent, redeposited and relent, redeposited and relent over and over again, creating bank credit all the way. This is where the vast majority of our currency supply comes from. In fact, 92 to 96% of all currency in existence is created not by the government, but here in the banking system. Now,
Okay, so you see how vocabulary is the key here? Because this is how the elite run the game. Nobody even knows how to question it. They just want to make sure that that money's in their damn account so they can pay their bills and they can go on their vacation. Are we okay with that? Don't you want to change that? Because maybe you're like, well, nah, it's not that bad for me, right? I got my job, I'm good. But think about the people on the losing end of this bargain, right? Like they said, this is what funds wars. I mean, think of the person where they are struggling so hard even to make ends meet that now they're being evicted from their home. They got money pressure, financial pressure. Like, think of your neighbor, and let's say behind the scenes, they're like having arguments every day, or like they're extra angry with their kids because money's so tight. And then you realize this is the game being played. Now you might go, well, do you have something better? Yeah. Yeah, there's a whole process to it. It involves education first, though, because I'm honest about the fact that it's going to take a while to change this. That's why I always talk about 3 steps: education, then culture, then politics. Politics can then allow us to make changes in the money system. So there is something called UBI. What is UBI? Okay. So this is I know there's a lot of debate on this, but there's just a different way of looking at it. Universal basic income. It is a social welfare proposal in which all citizens of a country or community receive a regular, unconditional sum of money from the government, regardless of their employment status or wealth. Universal. Everyone receives it, regardless of how much money they make. Basic. The amount is enough to cover essential living costs like food, housing, and utilities. Cash. It is provided as direct money rather than specific food stamps or vouchers. Unconditional. There are no strings attached. You don't have to pass a test or prove you're looking for a job, or that you voted a certain way, or that you got a certain medical experiment done onto you, or you didn't talk smack about the government, that kind of thing. But do you see how education is going to be essential? If we really want to change the system, this is like, let's say, half of it. For example, making sure that people at least have their needs met, so that way they're not freaked out. But let's even say Trump comes out tomorrow and goes, guys, you get $5,000 a month just for being an American. Here you go. Okay, if people still have issues and I don't know, they're like, well, I want to go cheat on my spouse, or oh, I have anger problems, or oh, I feel like I'm worthless. The money isn't necessarily gonna solve that. Money will help solve money problems, but there's also other problems people have. We also ought to have a lot of people working in agreement as well to then understand, like, what is the ripple effect of this? What does inflation then look like? Like, there's a lot of technicalities that I am humble enough to realize I don't have all the answers for that, but that's okay. I am working on making the greatest culture of all time of human beings that are geniuses, that can rapidly learn the vocabulary, that can adapt, that can evolve, that can work together. Do you want to be part of that, or you want to just be in the debt-based slavery fake system where your money is worthless? It's not even money. It's called currency, like the currents of a river. What is this guy? Pao Chang Word Magic. What does he say about currency and money? This guy has a really cool book called Word Magic. Oh, I have the book somewhere. I don't think I have it in here. I think it's for sure be a good one to read, but I don't know where it is right now. So he talks about currency. It's like a current in a river. He talks about the bank like it's a bank of a river. It's pretty masterful. I'm not saying I agree with everything, but consider this. Why? Back to bring it full circle now. Why do we call it the week? You're literally saying it's weak. You're weak. Why do they say good morning? Is it just a coincidence? Or and I'm not saying there's one guy out there going like, haha, how do we edit the dictionaries? Even though in the book 1984, the main guy, I think his name is Winston, right? What's his job in 1984 is to edit dictionaries. So the elite do understand the power of language. They do understand how if you have what's called non sequiturs, that automatically puts someone into a position of inferiority to you. So these politicians will use certain words. At times, they'll speak to the level of a third grader. Like Trump is very good at that. He knows how to simplify his message. But occasionally, then he will have a very strong word, like Operation Warp Speed, right, or like the deadly virus, and then he'll use that thing to make you want to. Um, it's not even you're consciously wanting it. Subconsciously you get put into a position where then you just trust the authority. And even if you hate Trump, you still see him as an authority because you see him over and over. My point is, there's something called word magic, which is what that book is literally titled. And it talks about definitions of words and also how there's a spell put on us. Think about it, the word spelling. If you don't know how to spell a word, you're not going to be able to use that word effectively. Consider spelling is how you're actually arranging the sound and the symbols within you to then cast the spell into the world so something actually happens. So if you struggle with reading and writing and spelling, hit me up. I'll give you a reading assessment. I will show you tools by which you can master the English language. so you become unstoppable. If you never got a reading assessment from me, hit me up. I'll show you. You can test out your spelling, your reading speed, your comprehension, and then I can create a custom game plan for you so you can master the English language. And then anything else you want to learn. So if you do want to know how this stuff works, and maybe one day you want to run for political office, you can help us change this. Like, I want you to be able to read this book and then apply it, because knowledge without application is useless. So I will read books like this, but then I will live stream about it, and then I will go talk to people about it, and then I will host events, and then realizing, remember, 3 steps: first education, then culture, then politics. Politics includes then changing the money system. So yeah, you have this idea of like either a debt-based system, which you saw, like every bit of money that's created into existence has debt attached to it. Let's say they're going to print $1 million today, but now that money is going to be owed back a million. Let's say it's going to be $1 million, 1,010,000 is owed back. And you might say, so where's it going to come from? Well, you just got to do work and make people pay you. Okay, but how did the first money, right, the very first dollar ever printed? And then they said, okay, well, you owe us now $1.10 back. It can never be repaid. Is that clear now? It can never be repaid. So then over time, they have to do these great resets, great depressions. Eventually, the house of cards comes tumbling down. And then the elite, for a long time, have been able to hide in their gated communities and then just profit off the recreation of the system. Now that's changed. Things are different now for a couple key reasons. And if you want to know those key reasons, you got to hit me up. This is not the time and place on a live stream. I need to understand where you're at so you can understand how does reality work, how does the elite work, how do control systems work, what is the great resets, what does technology represent, what's the human mind. There's all these things. Nonetheless, we can either be in a debt-based system, which I am not cool with anymore, or a creative-based system. But this is ultimately going to, and it would look something like a UBI, where you as a human get a basic income just by the fact that you're a human being. You can use it for your needs. Then if you want to be creative, we could still have the best aspects of capitalism, where it is a competitive system where the best products and services can win. But this way, everyone's educated. So you can't just dupe them into believing some bullshit. And then you also don't just need to create some crazy AI overlord thing just so you can have ChatGPT generate images of cats for you. And then they create data centers in Utah double the size of Manhattan. Like, that's capitalism gone wrong, obviously. So there's a enlightened capitalism here that we could have. I call it equal money capitalism. Equal money in that everyone gets equal money as what you're given. Then if you want more, you got to produce value. But our collective values will change as we change. So in conclusion, I know we want to change the money system, but you have to bring it back to then the culture, right? Collectively, what are we co-creating and what do we value? But then before that, you have to bring back to the individual in our education. One is the vocabulary, obviously, as evidenced by this whole live stream, all the vocabulary that you have you're starving for the vocabulary. I'm telling you, I have the greatest system ever for developing that. Hit me up. I'll show you how it works. That way you can know all of these things and you don't have to guess. You can know it for yourself. You will develop certainty and confidence in your life then, because nobody can trick you. And then you can understand how to navigate the current system we're in, because it's not going to change overnight, but how to be successful in the current system without losing yourself to it so we can change it. But the last part here is, like I was saying earlier when I was talking about the forgiveness. What do you do with debt? It's got to be forgiven. And so self-forgiveness, creating the energetic debt to then forgiving the energetic debt. And what happens then? Think about it. When you're walking around with a bunch of energetic debt, aren't you going to have a bunch of stress? Your body's going to feel tense and it sucks, but you can forgive it. You will feel the release. You can then actually come through as the infinite creator you are, that you have suppressed. The infinite creator as you as life can then come through. That's what I want for you. So thanks for being on the live stream. I will be back tomorrow. Quick little update. Tonight at 5 p.m., Jessica, my amazing wife, is going to be live streaming on her YouTube and on her Facebook and her Instagram. So just find her there. And again, I am going to show you real quick. You should totally watch my homestead tour. I did this last night. Guys, it's awesome. It's really thorough. I'm showing you, what does a creative based system look like? What do you do with the money you have? Are you just trying to invest in the stock market? Or could you invest in assets like a garden? Let me just show you a moment of this. Watch. I like Jess's cameo appearance in here. We'll watch like 2 minutes. This is our garden update. Have chickens, and then like we're gonna get a cow. Not that everyone has to have a cow, but imagine you had that in your neighborhood. You got the milk, you got the whole thing set up. So that's what I'm interested in. Jess is going all out with the garden this year. It's really cool. Gotta give you the garden update. Hey, cameo appearance.
You need a brush and a soap.
She's cleaning out the kid pool.
What's up, everyone?
Doing a homestead tour.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah, what do you got? You can give us the highlight. That garlic is going insane, babe. Does that need to be harvested?
No, not yet.
Yo, be warned. This is gonna be the best garden we've done by double, at least.
Behold our beautiful garden. I've got potato boxes, a beet bed, a carrot bed. I have tomato beds and pepper beds and my peas that are all protected from the sun because it's super hot. So I'm gonna see if I'll still get them to produce even in the sun. We've got onions and chard and beans, and we've got squash and pumpkins and melons. Tons of garlic. We've got enough garlic for...
So that's what it's about, guys. Being a creator. Jess is a great example of that. So tonight, you should tune in at 5 p.m., the Resilience Hotline. And then at 8:30 p.m., Cameron Cope. Let's see, where's Cameron's live streaming on Kick. And you should watch if you want. You thought I went deep? You thought I went deep talking about the Federal Reserve? This guy right here, arguably the smartest human being on planet Earth. You might think, that sounds crazy. What? How do you know? I think Stephen Hawking is the smartest. Come on, is he an expert? No, I'm telling you, listen to 3 of these and then come back to me. Cameron sees the fucking vision very clear. Okay? And he's not afraid to call you out on your shit because he actually cares. He's here for a reason. Him and his wife have 3 of the smartest kids in the world. They're incredible. He's a dear friend of mine. We work together on the same purpose. So go to kick.com/Cameron Cope. That's how you find him. Just spell it just like that. And he runs the Existential Crisis Hotline. And I believe he's streaming 6 nights a week. Sometimes I'm on live. Otherwise, it's on his YouTube as backup. But there is infinite content for you. The thing is, remember, knowledge without application is useless. So if you just sitting here watching the live stream, here's the first action you can take. Book on my calendar, 15 minutes with me. I want to talk to you. I want to know, what are you trying to read? What are you trying to learn? Where are you struggling? What is your purpose? Do you want a homestead too? Do you want to know how we've done this? Like, do you want to read books like this? Are you trying to figure out just how to make more money so you can survive? Like, I can show you. So hit me up. Hey, if you want some new music, my whole channel here got some good stuff on here. Some bangers on here. This is the music. Jess and I love music. There's certain genres we really enjoy too. I mean, we like... I despise radio music because they are programming you. The radio programs you to be a consumer slave who goes from heartbreak to heartbreak. That is how normal mainstream works. They get you on energetic debt. They get you on actual financial debt. And then they get you an emotional relationship debt where you're just chasing the high, and then you fight, you make up, you kiss, you break up. What does Katy Perry say? You're hot and you're cold. You're yes and you're no. You're in and you're out, up and down. You're wrong and you're right. It's black and it's white. Damn, how do I even know that? It's called a mnemonic hook. Mnemonics. 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 See, I can spell. The people who write Katy Perry's music know how to spell. Katy Perry is good at being a puppet. She programmed millions of young girls to be hot and cold. And now you wonder why your girlfriend or your wife seems bipolar sometimes. Because she probably listened to Katy Perry or Taylor Swift as a kid and went to the concert or listened to it on repeat. And now, literally, against her will, she now has mnemonic hooks running around in the back of her head, making her sabotage your relationship. So if you want better music, check out my Life Jams channel. I always play music at the beginning of the call on here. This and OAE is Cameron's music. They're great. We make them so the lyrics are stuff you can listen to with your kids. I mean, some of the all the stuff on mine you can listen with your kids. It sometimes kind of hype, so like don't listen to some like hardcore techno banger at 9 p.m. You've been warned. But yeah, fine. There's mixes on here and everything, and it's all kid proof, but it's good stuff. So you don't have to listen to like stupid kid songs about like Veggie Tales or whatever parents listen to. You can actually listen to cool music. So there's a little bit more best for all programming there, guys. All right. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you on Jess's live stream in her chat, and